I'm starting a new series on shutter types for doors and windows. A shutter is usually a movable cover or screen for a window or door, a mechanical device that controls the passage of light, view, or people. It helps secure a room. The first door type is the ledge, batten, and brace door. I consider that one should start understanding shutters from this, since this is the most basic from where the rest are derived. Most of the shutters being used today, except the flush door, are framed shutters. Even ledged, batten, and braced has a frame type. We will understand the meaning of the frame later. When vertical battens are stacked side by side and they are bound together by horizontal members, a shutter is created. It may also have diagonal supports. We will detail this type of shutter. This is a simple ledged and battened shutter. The vertical members are battens and three horizontal members are called ledges, which hold them together to create a shutter which can be fixed to an opening. This shutter has its limitation of width because when the width will increase, the number of battens will also increase, and with this, the load will also increase. The ledges will not be able to take that load. We can use a single ledged and battened shutter for a door width up to 900 mm or less. When the shutter width increases, then, to strengthen it further, a diagonal member is introduced between two ledges so as to share the load of increased members. This is known as the brace. The brace is supported between the ledges by house joint. Let us name the parts on this drawing. The horizontal members are the ledge, the vertical members are the battens, these two diagonal members are the brace. The brace stops the assembly of battens and ledges from hanging down. This green line is the line of hinge from where the shutter is attached and hung in the door opening. Since the shutter is hung from one of the vertical edges, it may tend to hang down like this if the assembly is not secured properly. Such a door is known as ledged, battened, and brace door. The width of this door may be more than 900 mm, up to 1200 mm for a normal lintel level of around 2100 mm. The direction of the diagonal is very specific to the side of the hinge. The example on left is wrong. The brace rises up diagonally away from the line of hinge. Let us understand the details of this door along this section line. In a shutter, the ledges and the brace can be on any of the faces of the shutter, but both the conditions will require different treatment. Let us understand these. In this first condition, the ledges and brace are on the face opposite to the rebate of the door frame. In this first condition, the width of the rebate in the door frame will accommodate only the thickness of the batten. This is the second condition. In the second condition, the ledges and brace are on the shutter face towards the rebate side of the frame. In comparison to condition 1, the rebate of the door frame in condition 2 will be more because it has to accommodate the combined thickness of batten and ledge. These are the two conditions of placing the ledge and brace on the face of the shutter. The condition 2 will be more clear in this 3D view. The vertical members are the batten, the horizontal member is the ledge. You can see that the width of the rebate in the door frame post is more so as to accommodate the combined thickness of batten and ledge. This shutter type is hung using T-scotch hinge which are fixed at heights up to the middle of the width of the ledges in both the cases. Therefore, it is important to accommodate the ledge in the frame rebate. Let us understand the joints important for the assembling of ledged, braced and battened shutter. First is the joint between the battens. Next will be the joint between the brace and ledge. So, the joints between the battens and the joint between the ledge and brace. Let us make an enlarged section across the width of the shutter. When the battens are placed next to each other with their edges meeting like this is known as a butt joint. If the edges of the battens are not finished properly, a gap may be visible between the battens. This will allow the light and view from these gaps. In this second joint, except the battens on the edges, the profile of the battens is such that it has a projection known as tongue on one edge and a groove on the other edge. Together, they make the tongue and groove joint. Books also mention them as T and G joint. There is another variation of the tongue and groove joint. The profile of the battens is such that it has groove on both the edges. The joint secures the two when a fillet is inserted in the groove created by the adjacent battens. A fillet is a piece of wood which has a cross-section dimension slightly smaller than the groove and the length equal to the length of the batten. The fillet does the work done by the tongue. The joint is known as fillet and groove joint. Let us see the dimensions for making these joints. For the given thickness of battens, divide the thickness in 3 equal parts. The length of the tongue is 12 to 15 mm and the groove can be less than that or more than the tongue. The edges of the batten will meet tightly if the tongue is small. The edges will stay away and make a groove if the tongue is longer than the groove. This has to be a very conscious decision. The width of the batten will also be calculated accordingly. So, these were the joints between the battens. Let us understand the joint between the ledge and brace now. The brace comes and meets the ledge at an angle. The outer edge of the brace meets the ledge after a minimum gap equal to the thickness of the ledge. In this case, this is 25 mm. A profile of housing is created by taking 90 degrees from the point of meeting of the ledge and the outer edge of the brace up to a depth of the ledge thickness, which is 25 mm here. The profile is completed by joining this small line to the point of meeting of the top of the ledge and the inner edge of the brace. Let us understand how we will draft the two braces in the elevation of ledged, battened and braced shutter. Take a line at 25 mm at these 2 points. Join the 2 points and find its midpoint. Taking midpoint as center, draw a circle with diameter equal to the width of the brace. Make a line from this point as tangent to the circle and extend it to meet the ledge above. Do the same from top also. Finish the remaining profile as explained earlier in the video. This way you can draft the two braces on top and bottom of the shutter. Let us understand how to derive the width of a batten in ledged and battened or ledged, braced and battened shutter. This is the structural opening of 900 mm. This is the cross section of the post of the door frame. Let us take it as 75 mm by 120 mm. For the batten size calculation, 75 mm is important. This width between the rebates is the width of the shutter since the shutter fits here. Let us call it A. A is equal to 900 minus the sum of the gap between the frame edge and the wall, which we are assuming as 10 mm on both the posts. 75 mm minus 12 mm of rebate, that is 63 mm again on both the posts. This is 900 minus 146 mm, which equals to 754 mm. So A is equal to 754 mm. Now divide 754 into so many equal parts such that the width is somewhere between 100 to 150 mm. So dividing 754 mm into 6 equal parts gives us each batten around 125 mm wide. Actual size will be calculated after the frame has been made by the carpenter. In the following part, pause the video in each image to revise and for dimensions. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe the channel.